You are now listening to the Divorce Diaries podcast with your host, well, that's a secret. No names, ages, or any other identifying characteristics will be used as we protect the young and innocent. You'll be taken on a journey as one man considers getting a divorce or remaining married. The Divorce Diaries daily entries chronicle the decision-making processes in real time as they unfold day by day. He hopes to add a bit of clarity to his sometimes muddled mess of a marriage. Cheating, overspending, sex, sadness, and betrayal are the characteristics of this marriage. Is he making the right choice? Welcome to the Divorce Diaries. Entire seasons are released on Patreon weeks before anywhere else. At Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Link below in description. Now for today's episode.
I guess you know when things should be over. When I was in the hospital having my surgery, I had a nurse come into my room in the ICU, very excited that she spoke to my daughter, blank, and I gave them very specific instructions. Do not contact anyone but these two people. And my wife was not one of those people, and no one in my family was really what was on that list. It was only my mother-in-law and should be soon my ex-sister, because they sort of still communicate with each other, and I wanted very much to keep that small, and I wanted them to contact my the only child that still wants to have a relationship with her dad. And the nurse, she flies in and she's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, I let your family know that you're okay. And I immediately said, "What do you mean, my family? What do you mean?" She said, "I talked to your daughter, blank," and she said my wife's name. And I'm like, "You weren't supposed to call them. You weren't supposed to call her." And I didn't, because I know that everything that I've been saying, my wife, hopefully my soon-to-be ex-wife, hopefully by the time you're listening to this, my ex-wife, twists my words, lies, deceives, and manipulates. And she's been doing that with everyone, therapists, everyone. And she's been relentless in this pursuit of her dishonesty. She's committed. And this nurse, the poor thing, I just had to kind of say, I said, I'll be honest, I said, well, more so yelled the word fuck probably about 8 or 9 times. I just looked at the ceiling and I just said, fuck, because back when I thought, or let me say this more plainly, you know how you make a decision to believe someone when you know that they're lying? You make the decision to say, "Hey, I'm addicted to smoking cigarettes," when really you don't want to commit to quitting. You really are, you're not being mature. You're saying, "Oh, I didn't finish school because, I had kids," but your kids are now in their 20s and you haven't finished school because you just haven't committed to finishing school. You haven't made it a priority. That's really the reason. Or, "I haven't lost weight because I'm big boned." No, it's the fast food that you eat 4 or 5 times a week. It's the fact that you don't go to the gym and that you have a better relationship with Netflix than you do with calorie burning. Those are the true reasons why you are a slovenly, non-accomplished piece of shit. And that's the real reason. And I, for a very long time, decided that I was going to choose to believe, nope, my wife is a good person. I just need to talk to her and explain to her why the thing that she did wasn't great. I would show the evidence of, "Hey, here's how the family's been affected by that poor decision that you made, so could you please not do it again?" And I just felt like, nope, I've made the decision. My wife is smart. My wife means well. She wants the best for our family. She cares about our children. And after enough times of my wife intentionally doing things like that directly hurt our family and divided us, I had to then commit to the reality. And the reality is my wife is not a good person, and she lies often. She leaves out many truths, and she's a very convincing talker. She's an average sized woman and I'm an average sized man, which means I'm bigger than her. So the idea and thought that my wife might actually bully me, mistreat me, quote unquote abuse me. I'm not saying physically, but is the bully in the relationship. No one ever really believes that because it's a man and it's like, oh, your wife can't bully you. But we have a phrase that we've coined and it's like, what is it called? Short man syndrome or short man complex, where it's like the short man wants to show how big he is because he's the shortest man, so he overcompensates because of his lack of size. He overcompensates with his bravado, his machismo, his machoism, and that's what he does. So it's a very tough thing when you have a wife that's actually emotionally abusive and makes a man that should be confident feel like he should walk on eggshells. And you know that phrase, happy husband, happy life? Wait. The saying is happy wife, happy life. Make her happy. Don't hold her accountable wife, happy life. Nope. Responsible wife, happy life. No. Happy wife, happy life. Well, happiness is a feeling and it's a state, and that state can change. What would really make your wife happy would be if she was actually a dress size 4. But she is a dress size 14, and she really likes Nutella, and she is happy, so she says, when she eats it, but then she's very unhappy when she goes shopping. She's very unhappy committing to purchasing another wardrobe because she's grown out of her current wardrobe. She's very unhappy when she looks in the mirror. So you want to try to help your wife to become a happy wife. So you want to, hey, would you like to go to the gym? Well, that doesn't make her happy because when you go to the gym, parts of your body get sore. You begin to sweat. It's tiring. The gym hurts. The gym is not fun. We try to make it fun. We try to distract ourselves from the workouts by listening to a podcast or an audiobook or music, chatting it up with friends, going with other people. We try to do so many things to make the gym more palatable. But the gym, if any of us have gone, we all know the gym fucking sucks. The gym does not make you happy. Ending the workout does make you happy because it's over. Ending the workout makes you happy because there's an accumulation of dopamine that's released into your body that makes you feel good, endorphins. Going to the gym isn't a fun thing or a good time. You need to very intently focus on the good effects of having gone to the gym and be comfortable measuring sometimes the immeasurable metrics of the gym. Getting on the scale, seeing the weight go down, looking in the mirror, seeing cuts of muscle developing where there once weren't any. That's what makes things good. That's what would make you an actual happy person. Putting in the work would make you happy. But the saying in the phrase is, happy wife, happy life. And it's tough, to say the least. It's very tough. And I tried to do everything I could to make my wife happy. But that only meant sometimes I placated to her bad behaviors. I didn't hold her accountable because I knew that would make her unhappy. It's unhappy telling someone, not that I told you so, or kind of reminding them like, hey, remember we talked about that thing and we agreed that we would do that because that was the best decision. But then when you got ready and got in front of the person, you couldn't actually hold your own because you didn't want to make them feel bad, or you felt that the confrontation wasn't worth it. So then when I would tell you, when I was shocked and surprised that you did something that we didn't agree on and it made me upset, that also didn't make you feel good. So you didn't feel good because you didn't keep your word to me. You didn't feel good when you had to tell me that you didn't keep your word. You didn't feel good when I reacted and I didn't keep, and I was upset. None of the things made you feel good. So you're just rolling down the hill of, I don't feel good, I don't feel good, I don't feel good. And it's like, wow, that's a lot of not feeling good. So I guess later you'll probably eat something to also help exasperate the problem or whatever, or to contribute to another problem that you're having. Happy wife, happy life. Well, after I yelled fuck 9 times at the ceiling because my nurse reached out to a person that I explicitly told the hospital not to reach out to, I know I made her feel bad, but I also had to let her sit in that because she had to look at the paperwork and see that, oh crap, it says contact this name, and neither of those names were my wife. And in her haste, she looked at one database, and it's not fully her fault because once I removed my wife as an emergency contact, that should have replicated through all systems of the hospital. So, and I told her, the nurse, I said, look, I'm not upset at you. It's unfortunate that I changed this in 3 systems at the hospital and it's all accurate, but in your other system that I didn't know existed, you still have an old contact. I said, yeah, everyone already told me. They already came in and said, hey, I talked to your brother-in-law. I talked to your brother-in-law. I talked to your brother-in-law. So then at 2 a.m, when a happy to have helped nurse comes into my room declaring victory, I talked to your daughter blank and says my wife's name. I'm like, first off, the name you just said, that's my wife. Second, she's not my daughter. Do you mean you talked to the only daughter that I said it would be okay with, even though I didn't put my youngest daughter's name down so she could be contacted? For goodness sakes, she's not even 10 years old yet. So I don't want her being contacted. I wanted her aunt to be the one to reach out to her, or her aunt to reach out to her sister and say, hey, just want to let you know, your husband's okay, whatever. So that was the funny and sad and deliberately knowing way that I knew, like, this relationship is really over. I don't even want, and I'm not ashamed to say it now. And I know that eventually this will be heard, by the enemies that I have that share my blood and or temporarily will be sharing my last name. I don't want you to know anything about me. You have shown that you don't like me, you don't love me. In fact, you may hate me at the time, and you're going to try to do things to make my life miserable. My wife, in fact, food for thought. My youngest has said, hey, that we have had conversations, Mom, my sister and me, we have had conversations about taking half. They have said the words taking half. They want to take half of what you have. And I don't care what your thoughts or feelings are about the legal system and how marriage, quote unquote, can screw men or whatever. That's not where this is going. A mom is having conversations with her minor children, her minor daughters, about taking half of their father's possessions because they're getting a divorce, but they're both fully aware that their father has paid for everything in their lives. Everything. So as they get older, they will understand that, wow, our mother was very dark. It's money. I hope that I can make it back. But it's money. And to know that there's a person sorry about that, got a little bit loud, but to know that there's a person that wishes you ill and doesn't care that for decades you provided for and helped them, they now want to slander you to your children. They want to divide young girls from their father, who is fully committed to them, loves them. I'm the only one that can really validate my daughters, because if I am not in their life, they will look for male validation in possibly unhealthy ways and unhealthy places. The best men to be in positions of advisement to young women and girls are the men that don't want to fuck them, the men that have no sexual interest in them, which is pretty much only 2 men in their lives. They could have more than one of these men, but it's their father, because a father should not have any sexual interest in his daughter at all. He should be repulsed by it, which I am repulsed. And a brother should be repulsed by being with his sister or his sisters sexually. So a sister and daughter should be able to come to their older brother, they have one, potentially even younger, when they come of age, and say like, hey, I'm thinking of dating this guy, should I? And very quickly, fathers can say, no, honey, this guy is this guy is that, I wouldn't consider this guy a serious prospect. Or this guy, I know you may not be as attracted to him, but this guy will love you until you die. And it's like, and you have to go with that and trust it, because for the most part, most women's pickers are really off. Like, a gazelle cannot choose which lion. She's like, you know what? I think that lion will eat me the best. It's like, no, you're a gazelle. They all will eat you. You would have to go to the only lion, the lion that's a vegan, the lion that doesn't want to eat your meat. That's your dad. That lion is like, ugh, here's how we lions think, my dear. Like, you know, when you go over and you think that you're in this, you're going to go to a shallow part of the stream and you're going to drink from there. Well, that hill behind you, it provides some cover, and the lion can sneak up on you from behind. So you should probably go to the most exposed part of the lake, not the part of the lake that makes you feel like you're concealed, because if it's providing places to hide for you, it's also providing places to hide for the lion that's hunting you. So please don't eat there. And it's like, oh my gosh, I never would have thought of that. And me, the vegan lion, I will say, yes, my dear, because you're a gazelle. You're just going to want to feel safe, and that means you're going to want to be closed in. And that's exactly where the lion would want you to go. So please, your picker is off. Don't try to decide or figure out. You need to go to your father or your brothers, and ask them, hey, how can I secure the best man? Well, wearing revealing clothing and having random sex with random strangers at clubs on the weekend, that's not going to help you. And that's what a father will say. But if you just go and sidle up to a bar stool, and a man or men buy you drinks, buy you shots, come over and sit next to you. Hey, honey, oh, your eyes are so beautiful, and tell you all the sweet nothings that you really want to hear in your ear. You may forget for a second, this is a lion that wants to eat me. And with my wife's persistent decision to divide me from my daughters, she doesn't care about the life of hurt and turmoil that she is presenting them with. So I don't have any reservations anymore about divorcing my wife. I want out. I don't want to know her or talk to her ever again. I am happy that my youngest child, my youngest daughter, in fact, is staying with me and wants to make that permanent. She's understood and recognized the lies that have been spouted. I had no idea half the story. I had no idea that my wife was sending text messages from my daughter's phone, pretending to be her, posing as her, texting me. I had no idea that my older daughter was sending text messages from my younger daughter's phone, again, pretending to be my daughter, getting me into conversations, making me think, setting me up. I had no idea. I didn't say anything and I wasn't doing anything bad, but at the same time, think about it. If you think you're texting someone and you're not texting that person, oh my gosh, how much distrust do you have now? How uneasy do you feel? How vulnerable? How naked? I have to remind myself constantly never to forget the darkness that I'm dealing with. The scorpion and the frog, that story comes to mind often. The scorpion spent a lot of time on the shore convincing the frog I believe there was a fire, I believe, in one of the stories, one of the versions of the stories, The Scorpion and the Frog I've heard. There's a fire that's happening, and the scorpion and the frog are on the bank. And they have to get to the other side of the river where there is no fire. And the frog is going to jump into the water and swim across. And he's telling the scorpion, I gotta go. And the scorpion's like, hey, wait a minute. If you swim, let me just get on your back and we can go over together. The frog says, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not letting you on my back. You're gonna sting me because you're a scorpion. And the scorpion says, no, I won't. I promise. The frog says, no, you're gonna sting me. And the scorpion's like, I wouldn't sting you, dumb frog, because if I'm on your back and we're swimming across, you're swimming across, and I sting you, you're going to die, and that means I will die too. So duh, I'm not going to sting you because that would mean killing me. The frog is convinced. The frog says, you know what, you're right. You're going to kill yourself, and you wouldn't do that. Scorpion climbs on the back of the frog, or the frog allows the scorpion to climb on his back. They hop in the water, and they're swimming. So far, so good. They're halfway across. The frog feels a sharp pinch. Ugh! The frog automatically stops feeling its legs and starts to sink and realizes that he's been stung by the scorpion. The frog looks back at the scorpion, and he says, you stung me. How could you? And as the scorpion and the frog both begin to sink to their death, the scorpion says to the frog, I stung you because I'm a scorpion. And they both die in the middle of the river. The frog from the poison and the scorpion from drowning. See, when people can't help who they are, they will do what they will do regardless. And once I finally understood, and more importantly, accepted that, I said, oh no, I could very easily remove my wife as my emergency contact. Because I'm no longer really removing my wife. My wife is someone that I believe has my best interest at heart. My wife is someone that I believe should love me. I believe my wife is someone that, if we share children, should want me to have a good relationship with my children, not divide us. Once I realized that my wife is the person that will liquidate retirement accounts behind my back and not tell me, it's her retirement account. She can do what she wants. But we're married. I believe you should tell the person that you're going to do that. When my wife wants to tell my children behind my back that, tell my son, hey, when you become a realtor, I'll finally leave your father and I'll be your first customer. But not tell me, come home and kiss me and say, I love you. How was your day? When my wife goes behind my back and tells stories of breakups that we had when we were high schoolers and the things that I did, but doesn't tell what she did, that's a manipulative way to go about it. When my wife offers to get me and the man that she is not having an affair with to sit down across the table from each other so that he and she can convince me that they're not having an affair. Oh, wait, but they were. She says, hey, he's willing to sit down with you and tell you that we're not sleeping together. But then 3 counseling sessions later, yes, that guy, I am sleeping with him. We are having an affair. When I realized that my wife is pure darkness and evil, I can easily remove you as an emergency contact, because all of the marks that are on my back, they're stab wounds, and now I finally sent it off to the CSI lab to get fingerprints, and now I can no longer refute it. My wife is responsible for these backstabs. My wife is responsible for wounds I didn't even know that I had. So no, I do not want my wife to be an emergency contact. I don't want to know her. I don't wish her any ill, but I cannot believe that she wishes me ill. See, I even slipped up there. I now know and accept that my wife wishes me ill. I don't wish her ill, but she wishes me ill. So, as my youngest daughter goes through her phases of realizing the darkness and the evilness, is that a word? But that lies within my wife, and that she's been manipulated, and that my wife is sort of caged and removed my daughter around from therapist to therapist, and has been saying lies to these therapists. These therapists aren't even smart enough to themselves to say, you know what, I should probably have a conversation with your soon-to-be ex-husband just to figure this out, because your daughter's pretty broken down, and you and your other daughter seem to be totally simpatico on the hatred for a man, and you guys seem to be friends. Your daughter seems to be your best girlfriend, and you guys are bashing your ex-boyfriend, but your ex-boyfriend is her father. This is just a really toxic situation, and I'm looking out for the best interest of the children, but it hasn't been that. So it's very tough. And it has been, but things are becoming more simple now. It's easy for me to wash my hands of my wife fully. I have no interest of whether she has a good life or a bad one. I don't care if she succeeds or fails in any of her future endeavors. I don't care about her future endeavors. I don't care about the relationship she has with her children. I don't care about having a relationship with her. And maybe this is how I feel now, but my wife is full of pure and utter darkness. So that's where the 9 fucks come from. That's why my wife was not my emergency contact. And I had to find myself explaining to a stranger of a nurse, like, I appreciate you trying to do what you felt was right, but I need you to check the official record of emergency contacts for a patient. And I'm just letting you know this because if you have any other patients, before you jump for joy and make that phone call, you may want to just look through the records of the patient. And you can still do your great things. And poor thing, she was so sad. She realized that she made such a mistake. And I wanted her to know that it's not totally your fault, because there shouldn't be multiple systems. At a hospital this size, these systems should be integrated. And there should be one place. When I delete an emergency contact, it should be deleted everywhere. So your intentions were good. So I want you to feel great about that. And no harm, no foul. Because I was very confused when I got a call from my daughter saying that, hey, I spoke to the nurse. And I'm like, yeah, shit. That's what I'm thinking. She told me. But it's okay. Because I wanted to report to my kids that, I'm okay. And I also didn't want my wife to know that I was in my most vulnerable state in intensive care. I didn't want her to know that I was out of surgery. I didn't want her using her wife card, even though she's done everything to show that she isn't my wife and she doesn't care about me. I didn't want her being able to saunter into the hotel and say, I'm his wife. I'd love to come up, and I'm hooked up to all these monitors. And I don't believe that she would necessarily do me harm, but I do very much believe that my stress level would be increased, and that wouldn't be in the best interest of my health. I don't want to be around my wife or anyone that is going to make me unhealthy or make my life harder. And she consistently does that. So, and the cat's out of the bag now, because it's been great relegating my wife to email contact only, text message contact only. And it's so funny. She's such a different person when she knows that her communications are going to be in black and white. She doesn't curse me out quite as much. I'm not a piece of shit quite as much. She doesn't think I'm disgusting quite as much, because these are emails and text messages that can be shared with legal teams or shown to kids or something like that, which I don't do, but she's very careful when she knows she could possibly be being recorded or she's typing something. It's like, wow, you're a totally different person. I get, hello, I just wanted to communicate with you this and that, blah, blah, blah. That's what she says in email. But behind closed doors, I don't know what your problem is, but yeah, I know that our kid told you that I went out on a date, but it wasn't a date. And my kid tells me that actually mom went through my iMessages on my iPad, and she saw that I told you that I was going on a date, that she was going on a date. And I forgot to delete those messages from my other device. So I deleted them from my phone, but she went behind my back and she was in my iPad. And I'm like, poor thing, you don't have any privacy. And granted, she shouldn't be telling me what's going on in her mother's life. I did not ask her, but she's so young. And the poor thing wants so much for her parents to get back together. So I'm working very hard, and I had been working very hard, to tell a child that wants their parents to get back together. I want to tell her and continue to reinforce that we will not be getting back together, and I'm sorry. And she's just like, but why not? You love mom, don't you? And I'm like, yeah, I love your mom, and I always will. I hadn't yet realized and or accepted all of the toxic behaviors that my wife was doing behind everyone's back. She was literally living like 7 different lifestyle and relationship lifestyles with people. She was having affairs all over the place with each other. She had one toxic we hate dad relationship, and we hate my ex-husband relationship with my one daughter. She had another less toxic one with my youngest. She had a full-blown toxic one with my son. She had a, hey, I'm still going to come and hang out with you, have coffees, spend time in the parking lot at work, and things like that with me. And she would come over. We were watching a Netflix series together. But she's going back and telling my daughter, but I hate him. I can't stand him. We got to get his stuff back. He's so verbally and emotionally abusive. He's always been this way. It's so interesting because you can't keep up all these affairs. You can't do it because eventually you're going to have to pick, because these people are going to talk. And that's the funny thing about a lie. You're lying to my daughters. I'm eventually going to talk to them, or they're eventually going to say like, oh my gosh, you're such a piece of shit, Dad. How could you have done X, Y, and Z to Mom? I'll say, I never did X or Y, and I know nothing about Z. It was such a light bulb because watching my youngest, she's like, wait, you didn't do X, Y sort of happened that way, and you don't know anything about Z? What the hell? And she's like, what the hell? This doesn't make sense. And she would go to my wife and say, Mom, you said this and you said that, but Dad said he doesn't know anything about this. And then she would lie and she would forget what she would say. And watching my other daughter, my older one, she would say, Mom said you did X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I didn't do X. Y happened differently, and I don't know anything about Z. And she would say, whatever, you know about Z, you're probably lying about Y, and X seems like something you would definitely do. And I'm like, wow. So you just really are going to believe anything your mom says, huh? Even after she lied to you about X, Y, and Z? She's like, yeah, because you're the liar and you're the toxic person. So I just watched two kids handle situations very differently. And to be honest, that's why I'm hated by one, loved by the other. But honestly, I know the other one. She loves her dad. She even told me in text that she misses her dad. But it was a dig when she said it. She was basically saying, like, I miss who I thought you were. That's basically what she meant. You are not the man that I thought you were. You always were lying to me. You always had a mask on. And now I know it. You are not the dad that I thought you were. And I miss who I thought you were, is what she was saying. But she also has the facts, because she said to me in a text message, she says, I remember, Dad, I used to call you into my room when I thought I saw spiders under my bed. And you would come in, and I remember how I used to handle it. I used to come into her room, and I would make all kinds of noise, and I would start banging on the floor and banging on the bed. You spiders, you get out of here. And I would say, I'll kick your ass, spiders. You spiders, don't you dare mess with my sweet chocolate chip. I love her so much, and if you guys mess with my daughter, I'll kick your ass. Do you guys understand that? And as I'm saying these things, I've got my hands on the mattress, and I'm lifting the mattress up to check under the bed. But my daughter's in the bed at the time. So as I'm lifting, I'm acting as if I don't realize she's on the bed. I'm not lifting it too much where she falls onto the floor, but I'm sending her on this wild, elaborate roller coaster ride because she is scared. She does think that she has spiders under her bed, and she's about, 10 at this time or something like that. And I'm lifting the bed up. You spiders, you get out of here. You better not. And I'm going from one side of the bed to the other. And she's giggling on top because she's being thrown up and down and up and down and up and down. And it's such a funny and awesome thing watching my daughter be tossed up and down. And it's very cool. And she's having a great time forgetting about being tricked and intimately understanding and having a good time with her dad at 12:30 at night, thinking that things are going to be taken away. I'm sorry, thinking I'm getting rid of the spiders, and I'm just putting on this grandiose display of, oh, hell no, you're going to stay away from my daughter. I love her so much. You're going to get out of here, spiders. If any of you touch my precious cargo, I'm going to kick your ass. I love this girl so much. Do you guys understand? And so she's laughing. She's being validated by her dad. She's not being made to feel like, come on, there's no spiders under this bed. What's wrong with you? I'm not berating her or anything. I'm just being that goofy, silly fucking dad that is trying to make his daughter feel good after he recognizes she's uncomfortable and she's a little bit scared. She's scared that these spiders are under her bed. She's scared that she'll get bit. She's got a fear of spiders. But I'm your dad and I'm your superhero, baby. And if you're listening to this, the facts are I know I'm not a superhero. I know that I can't protect you from spiders. I can't protect you from boys. I can't protect you from anything. But I'm gonna fucking try. I'm gonna fucking try. I'm gonna always be here to protect you when you need protection. I don't care how mad you get at me. And I don't care if you don't ever want anything to do with me ever again. But if anything is ever under your bed that you don't want there, I will kick in the fucking door and I will make sure that it's gone. Whatever is under your bed of life, I'll get it out of there, baby. Just call me. Text me. I have already vowed I won't ever block you. I'll never change my number, but if I'll do, I'll send it to you. I hate that you've been manipulated in this way. I hate that you may never invite me into any part of your life. I want you to know that I'll always want to be in every part of your life. I'll always be here. And just like your sister lives with me now, I am always going to be prepared to turn my life totally upside down and 100% quote unquote inconvenience myself for you. If it makes your life better, there's no mountain I won't climb, no change I won't make. I love you, little one.
Wow, that was the Divorce Diaries podcast. The Daily Saga will continue tomorrow. The full season's episodes are on Patreon now. Subscribe for early access. Click the Patreon link in the description. Hopefully these entries help our anonymous recorder as a form of his own personal therapy. That's his hope and his intention. Will these recordings of life's curveballs lead this family to the best resolution in the end? We'll keep listening. New episodes are released daily on all podcast players, but all episodes are available on Patreon at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Until next time.